Hello everyone. Now that we understand how AI can divide customers into different segments, let's move on to the next step, which is targeting. So what does targeting mean? Very simply, it means choosing which customer group a company wants to focus on. Not every customer segment has the same value. Some customers are more likely to buy, and some customers are more loyal, and some customers may have higher spending power. This is where AI becomes very useful. AI helps companies identify which segment is the most attractive and most profit. For example, imagine an online fashion brand. AI may analyze customers' data and find that women in their 20s who frequently browse fashion apps are highly likely to purchase during promotional events. Then the company can focus its marketing effort on this group. This helps business spend their marketing budget more wisely. Instead of sending advertisement to everyone, they can focus on the customers who are most likely to respond. This is why AI driven targeting is so important in modern marketing. And now let's talk about something you experience almost every day. This is personalization and recommendation system. When you open Netflix or Amazon or even YouTube, the content you see is different from what another person. It is because AI studies your previous behavior and it looks at what you watched before and what you clicked on and what you searched for, even how long you stayed on certain page. Then it predicts what you may like it next. For example, if we open buy skincare product online, the system may recommend toner, serum, or moisturizer product. This creates a more convenient and personalized customer experience. And from a business, this is very powerful. Customers are more likely to buy when they see products that match their interest. This improves customer satisfaction and also increases sales. In marketing, we call this improving the conversion rate. The customer journey becomes smoother and more personalized. That is why recommendation systems are one of the most successful AI applications in business today. And now let's connect this idea to real companies. A very famous example is Netflix. Netflix uses AI to analyze viewing history. It checks what kind of show you like, what what genre you usually like to watch, and even when you stop watching. Based on this, it recommends movies and series that fit for your taste. This keeps users engaged and make them continue using the service. Another great example is Amazon. Amazon is one of the best examples of AI-driven targeting. When you search for product, add items to your cart, or make a purchase, AI collects this information. Then it recommends similar items or products often you brought together. For example, if you buy a laptop, Amazon may recommend a mouse, keyboard, or laptop bag. This is very smart marketing strategy because it encourages additional purchase. Spotify is another good example. It recommends songs and playlists based on your listening habit. These companies are AI not only to improve customer experience, but also to increase customer retention and revenue. And now let's watch the related video.
Hello and welcome to today's lesson where we're looking at the STP marketing model. Now, a mistake many companies make is to think that anyone can be their customer. Taking this approach can make it difficult to sell your product or service because none of your prospective customers will feel that your solution is tailored to them and their specific needs. In fact, there isn't really a product in existence that should target everybody as its customer. Even a company like Coca-Cola that operates in over 200 countries and sells well over 1 billion products a day offers different products to suit different types of people. Now, STP stands for segmenting, targeting, and positioning, and it's a simple framework that can help improve your marketing. And what the model says is that to achieve easier sales, you should divide your market into groups of customers called segments, select the most attractive segment or most attractive segments, and then position your product in the marketplace to be the most appealing to that segment. Let's take a closer look. Of the STP process is to segment your market. And here you divide your market into groups based on some criteria. And there's a number of criteria you can use. So first we have demographic segmentation, and that's where you divide your market based on a combination of maybe age, gender, income level, education level, marital status, etc. You can divide your market based on geography, so sorting your market by country, region, state or province, or even urban or city area. You can segment your market in a psychographic way, so segmenting people by lifestyle, hobbies, activities, opinions, political affiliation, entertainment choices, or maybe personality traits or attitudes. Now, while demographic information explains who your potential customer is, psychographic information tends to explain why they choose to buy. Another way to segment people is behaviorally, and this breaks down your market by how they use the product. So including how the purchase was financed, brand loyalty, their usage levels, key benefits sought or key features used, etc. Now, when you divide your market into segments and then focus your marketing on a specific segment driven by the information you've collected, you're much more likely to be successful than if you simply created a one-size-fits-all generic marketing campaign. So the second step is targeting, and this involves deciding which of the segments you've identified are the most attractive. So essentially, you're trying to determine the commercial attractiveness of each segment. And there's a number of factors you can consider to do this. So for example, size of the segment and its potential to grow in size in the future, profitability of the segment, what segments are prepared to pay the most for your product or service, or what's going to be the lifetime value of a customer in this segment. And finally, we have ease of reach. How difficult is it for you to reach the market with your marketing? Can your distribution networks easily reach this segment? Is it going to be really expensive to try and acquire a customer? So ultimately, it isn't just the size of the segment you should be looking at, but it's the overall profitability of each segment. So the final step is positioning. And here you map out the different variables considered in the previous two steps and position your product differently to your competitors in the minds of your customers. You want your product or service to take a unique position in the market, and in marketing terms, this is called your value proposition. Now, there are three standard ways you can position your product to achieve a competitive advantage. So first you have functional positioning, and this refers to solving a problem or providing a benefit to your customer. Second, you have symbolic positioning, and this refers to enhancing the self-image, ego, or belongingness needs of your customer. So think about luxury cars. They market themselves using symbolic positioning. So a luxury car will get you from A to B just like any other car, but unlike other cars, they fulfill their customers' self-esteem and ego needs. And the third way of positioning is experiential positioning, and this refers to focusing on those elements of your product or brand that connect emotionally with your customers. Now, ideally, you want your product or brand to combine all three positioning factors to put it at a competitive advantage to your competitors. Now, one way of drawing your position in the market, showing what's important in the mind of your customer, is to put together a market map or a market positioning map, such as the one you can see here for the car market. Now, this diagram is obviously just a simple example and doesn't show all car manufacturers, but what it does allow us to see is that there is perhaps a gap in the market for an economic performance car, as there's no other company competing in this space right now. So let's look at a little example. Both of the books you see here are essentially about outsourcing. However, the book on the right sold more copies than all other outsourcing books combined. Why do you think that is? Well, to understand the real power of the STP model, we can use it to see why the 4-hour workweek was so successful. Firstly, let's look at segmenting, targeting, and positioning for the book on the left. Now, this book is aimed at everyone. It hasn't segmented the market and then targeted a specific segment. And because it isn't targeting a segment, then it can't be uniquely positioned. It's trying to be all things to all people interested in outsourcing. Now, conversely, the 4-hour workweek has clearly segmented the market and decided to target small business owners and people wanting to start a business. It then appealed directly to that market using all three positioning factors, and you can see all of these on the cover. Functional, the book gives us a process we can use to escape the 9 to 5. Symbolic, it's fulfilling our ego needs by telling us we can join the new rich. And experiential, the picture of a business owner in a hammock is deliberate and it connects with us emotionally. What business owner doesn't want more free time? So this example shows you the real power of the STP model, enabling you to create a unique product in the minds of your customers so that you can dominate your chosen segment. The 4-hour workweek is essentially a book about outsourcing, but positioned in a very unique way. So I really hope this example shows you the real power of the model. Now, there are a number of advantages and disadvantages associated with the model. So firstly, in terms of advantages, it allows you to increase sales by defining a precise target market and then positioning products directly at that market. It helps you avoid wasting money by advertising to the whole market, and it helps you identify gaps in the market. Now, there are also a few disadvantages associated with the model. So costs can increase if you have to produce multiple versions of your product or service. You will need to create different marketing campaigns and collateral for each segment you target. And again, that can increase your costs. And finally, you may need to use different distribution channels to reach different customer segments. So in summary, the STP marketing model is a 3-step process designed to help you identify your most profitable customers and then tailor your marketing and products to the needs of those customers. And the 3 steps of the model are: segment, so divide your market into segments; target, identify the most attractive segments to your organization; and finally, position or positioning, position your product or service to appeal directly to the audience you want to target. So that's it for this lesson. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Today, we're jumping right in and breaking down how you can use AI to seriously level up your marketing campaigns, specifically with ideation and audience segmentation. And we're not just talking theory here. This is a practical blueprint you can start using, well, pretty much tomorrow.
So, does this sound familiar? You know you need to come up with fresh campaign ideas. You know you need to dig into your data and really understand your audience. But who has the time? For most marketing teams, the answer is nobody. You're so busy just keeping the lights on that so many brilliant strategic ideas just never see the light of day.
But what if you could change that? This is the whole promise we're digging into. Look, AI is not here to do your creative or strategic thinking for you. It's a tool. It's designed to expand the sandbox you get to play in, giving you way more to think with and getting you there a heck of a lot faster. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. What is the actual promise here? What does using AI for ideation and segmentation really do for you and your team on a practical level?
It really boils down to 3 huge benefits. First, you're not brainstorming into a void anymore. Your team gets to start by evaluating a whole bank of AI-generated ideas right from the jump. Second, the AI can spot these little hidden patterns and microsegments in your data. You know, the kinds of insights that might take a human analyst weeks to find. And third, it gives your creative team a real structured starting point for each of those segments so you can finally get away from that one-size-fits-all message.
So what do you actually need to get this off the ground? The good news is it's not about having some crazy advanced tech stack. It's really all about having the right strategic ingredients. Think of it as a pre-flight checklist.
You need 5 things.
Number 1, a super sharp one-page strategic brief. This is your North Star. Then you need at least 6 months of real customer data, purchase history, web behavior, so the AI has something to chew on. You also need a clear brand voice guide, a few examples of what your competitors are up to, and, this one's critical, a named creative lead, a real person who has the final say. And I really want to pause on this for a second, because it is the single most important rule of this whole process. If you remember one thing, remember this. A tight, specific, well-thought-out brief is going to give you brilliant, on-point AI concepts. A vague brief, you're just going to get a ton of noise every single time. All right, so you've got your checklist ready to go. Now let's walk through the actual deployment blueprint. This is how you go from a totally blank page to a set of actionable frameworks your team can run with. There are 6 steps here. First, and I know I sound like a broken record, write that brief before you touch any AI tool. Then you run the segmentation analysis on your data. From that, you're going to pick just 2 or 3 high-value segments to focus on. Then you generate the big concept bank. After that, your creative lead evaluates those concepts. And finally, you build out the winning idea into specific messaging for each of your chosen segments. Now, that evaluation step, step 5, is absolutely crucial. Your creative lead isn't just picking concepts they personally like, they're running each idea through a filter. They're asking 3 questions. Does this actually meet our strategic goal? Does this sound like our brand? And is this actually different from what everyone else is doing? A concept has to get a yes on all 3 to move on. Okay, so once you've picked your concepts, things can start moving incredibly fast. And that speed is a superpower. But it also means you absolutely must have some guardrails in place. You have to remember, these are professional tools and they require professional oversight. We're talking 3 non-negotiables. First, your brand team has to review every concept before a single dollar is spent on development. Second, legal and compliance have to sign off on the messaging frameworks before assets get made. And third, and this is a big one, you have to feed the campaign performance data back into the model. That's how you close the loop and make the AI smarter for next time. That last point about data actually brings us right to the most common mistakes. We've already hammered on the weak brief. Another trap is just accepting a segment name the AI gives you, like loyalists, without digging into the behavior that defines them. Also, treating AI concepts as finished creative is a huge error. They're starting points, not final ads. And finally, not closing that data loop means you never get those compounding returns. This quote gets right to the heart of that number 1 mistake. There's this fear that a really detailed brief will somehow limit the AI's creativity, but it's the exact opposite. The brief is what focuses the AI's power. It turns it from this wide, unfocused floodlight into a laser beam pointed right at the problem you need to solve. It's all about direction, not constraint. Okay, we have covered the entire playbook here, from what you need to start, to the steps to take, to the mistakes to avoid. But if you walk away and only do one thing this week, what should it be? What's that single most important first step?
It's just one thing.
Write the brief, that's it. Before you research any tools, before you pull any data, before you book a single meeting, get your strategy down on a single page. Your objective, your audience, your message, your metrics, that is the foundational work.
So I'll leave you with this question to really think about. Go pull up your last campaign brief. Look at it. Is it clear enough? Is it specific enough? Is it strong enough to direct a powerful AI?
World of AI in consumer behavior analysis, personalization and targeting. Get ready to embark on a voyage that reveals how AI is reshaping the way businesses understand and cater to individual preferences. Imagine a world where AI understands your preferences better than you do, where every interaction with technology feels tailor-made to suit your needs. Today, we venture into this domain, where AI's ability to analyze and predict consumer behavior takes center stage. The convergence of AI and consumer behavior isn't just about data, it's about enhancing user experiences, boosting engagement, and driving business success. Throughout this journey, we'll explore AI in consumer behavior analysis, the power of personalization and targeting. Each step brings us closer to understanding how AI can revolutionize consumer engagement. Prepare to immerse yourself in a narrative that uncovers AI in consumer behavior analysis, the art of personalization and targeting. With each revelation, we come closer to harnessing AI's potential to enhance consumer experiences. Understanding AI's role in consumer behavior analysis. Our exploration begins by shedding light on the pivotal role that AI plays in understanding and analyzing consumer behavior. As we witness AI's capabilities, we'll also explore the ethical considerations it raises. At the heart of AI's promise lies its capacity to decipher intricate patterns in consumer behavior. However, this journey isn't without its complexities and concerns. The synergy between AI and consumer behavior analysis requires a delicate balance between personalization and privacy. As we delve deeper, it becomes evident that AI isn't just a tool, it's a strategic asset in creating personalized experiences that resonate with consumers. This segment underscores the importance of AI's contribution to understanding consumer preferences, offering insights into how technology can enhance user satisfaction. But our journey doesn't stop here. It leads us to explore cutting-edge personalization strategies. Personalization strategies, crafting tailor-made experiences. The integration of AI in consumer behavior analysis beckons us to explore advanced personalization strategies that leverage the power of technology. This segment delves into how AI-driven personalization is transforming the way businesses connect with consumers. As AI continues to evolve, it equips businesses with the tools to craft tailor-made experiences, from personalized recommendations to dynamic content delivery. Employing AI-powered personalization means creating meaningful connections, boosting customer loyalty, and ultimately, driving business growth. Imagine a world where every interaction with a brand feels uniquely designed for you, thanks to the power of AI. This segment highlights how AI acts as a catalyst for crafting personalized experiences, ushering in a new era of consumer engagement. Yet, our journey doesn't conclude here. It leads us to explore responsible personalization practices. Responsible personalization, balancing personalization and privacy. Responsible personalization in the era of AI is about striking a balance between enhancing user experiences and safeguarding privacy. This segment delves into the importance of ethical personalization practices. Realizing the full potential of AI in consumer behavior analysis requires a commitment to responsible personalization. It's not just about what AI can personalize. It's about how we do it while respecting individual privacy. Responsible personalization means ensuring transparency, respecting user consent, and addressing concerns about data security. Envision a world where AI-driven personalization respects user boundaries and fosters trust between consumers and brands. This segment underscores the value of ethics in personalization, emphasizing the need for a principled approach to ensure that consumer experiences are not only personalized but also respectful of privacy. Our path forward intertwines technology with ethical considerations. As we conclude our journey through AI in consumer behavior analysis, the power of personalization and targeting, we stand on the threshold of a consumer-centric era. The convergence of AI and consumer behavior analysis demands more than just innovation. It requires a commitment to responsible, ethical, and delightful user experiences. Our exploration reminds us that while AI empowers us to understand consumer behavior better, it's our responsibility to use this knowledge to enhance user satisfaction and protect their privacy. This voyage is not just a discussion, it's an invitation to businesses and individuals to embrace AI's potential responsibly, to create a future where personalized experiences coexist harmoniously with privacy and ethics. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey.